Welcome to Musical Intelligence. You're probably wondering why I'm holding a copy of Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And what's got that got to do with music, with intelligence, with guitars, with anything really? All right. So in this edition of the Hitchhiker's Guide, chapter 22nd, at page 559, there is mention about Dire Straits and Mark Knopfler. So Mark Knopfler, I'm reading from the book at that page, 2/3 down on the page. Mark Knopfler has an extraordinary ability to make a Schecter custom Stratocaster hoot and sing like angels on a Saturday night, exhausted from being good all week and needing a stiff drink, which is not strictly relevant at this point since the record hadn't yet got to that bit. But there will be too much else going on when it does, and furthermore, the chronicler does not intend to sit here with a track list and a stopwatch. So it seems best to mention it now while things are still moving slowly. So it's internationally agreed that this is an amazing book. A couple of movies, a TV series, songs written about this. Yet, most people are not fully aware that a guitar brand is mentioned in this book. Or if you do, you're probably a serious nerd like I am. So in this, Douglas Adams mentions this. Schecter, Stratocaster, double cut. I will show you better pics. Here's the Schecter logo. All right, so let me put it back because it's a fairly heavy beast. And I'll try not to crash it in the same time. All right, so Schecter Dream Machine. I'll go through a little bit of the history of Schecter guitar research, what are considered to be the top collectible Schecter guitars, and also what to look for. Now, I will not be going really deeply into all the nooks and crannies of the history of Schecter. I'll show you a couple of websites, a couple of places where you can get information about that. I'm just of a general survey. And I'll be showing pictures of my two dream machines that I've had, this one and the one I had previous to that I sold last year. So on to Schecter. So let me do a split screen here. Here we go. I'm not going to be original, it's Wikipedia. Schecter was founded by David Schecter in 1976 out of Van Nuys, California. No, Van Nuys. Sorry, I'm not from California, so I don't know how to properly pronounce this. Anyway, so they made that. It was a parts guitar company, just like Warmoth is today, but you could order more stuff from them than you do from Warmoth. Tuners, knobs, pickups, pick guards, and so on. So, and at some point, they decided to make dream machines. Now, dream machines were either made by Schecter for Schecter or by Schecter for music stores. So, like, a classic example from the Mark Knopfler story is that he went to New York to Rudy's, and there were a couple of Schecter's dream machines hanging on the wall, and he tried them, and he loved them better, and he did his own Strat and took off with them. So those were ordered by Rudy's. So music stores could order Schecter dream machines. Schecter would put them together and sell them. There are other cases where you could have a bunch of Schecter parts and put one together yourself, but they weren't assembled by Schecter, meaning David Schecter didn't have his hands in it. Tom Anderson from Nowadays, Tom Anderson Guitar Works didn't have his hands on it either. But they were assembled by Schecter. It would mean that those people had a hand in them. So then in '83, they're sold to an investment company called, don't know, sorry, do your own research. Again, like I said, I'm not going to go too deep into that. So apart from Wikipedia, let's go to probably one of the best authority on the matter. No, no, not this one. My apologies about this video cutting. I was intending to do it in one fell swoop, but phone rang and life happened. So most of this information that I've gathered about Schecter I got from either Wikipedia or Foxy Guitars. Now, Foxy Guitars used to have a lot. I mean, like close to a dozen Dream Machines for sale up to 2-3 years ago. And I've talked to the guy behind Foxy Guitars. I'm not going to mention his name, but we've traded emails over a guitar that I had that he didn't acquire from me because he figured he had enough of that type of Schecter Dream Machine. So I sold it to somebody else. So Schecter Dream Machines are dated from 76 to 83. Now, Schecter Dream Machines have several peculiarities. Most of them, if not all of them, will have a serial number starting with the letter S. So if I go to my Dream Machine, go to my pictures, here we go. Guitar. Dream Machine, Birdie. All right, so go here. So this was my baby that had the very made famous by Mark Knopfler no dot on the fretboard neck. So Dream Machines have an 8-hole pick guard. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 21 fret, which this did. Part signature of Tom Anderson with Schecter is the 2 strap pins at the bottom that Tom Anderson carried over to Tom Anderson Guitar Works. So if I go to the serial number, so here we go. I have no issues showing this serial number because this guitar is now in Germany. So it's got an S and then 8038. So Dream Machines have an S. The Koa here does not. It's got a different, but it's still a Dream Machine, and I'll get to that eventually. So if I go through all the pictures of this, Dream Machines, one-piece body, most of the time one-piece neck. So this was a mahogany body. Bird's eye maple, I mean exotic. That neck was amazing to look at. This was pure guitar porn. Now, at that time, the Schecter logo was burnt into the wood. So it's kind of stamped and burnt. They had a machine to do that. And when it's not a Dream Machine anymore, when the Texas investors took over Schecter, bought it, and took over the administrative functions, then they went to an inked logo, which this one does not have. It could be a burn or it could be an ink. I'll show pictures of that later on. So, Dream Machine, that Dream Machine had the Super Rock pickups with the pots that you only see in Schecters. Big block, which this one has. So, that's metal pickguard, metal backplate, brass knobs, metal switch knob. This thing was amazing. Had sustains like the best Les Pauls you've ever heard. All right. So this was a true Dream Machine made in the early 80s, probably 81, 82 from serial number. So Dream Machines from that era, from the Mark Knopfler Dire Straits era, were made before 83. So what makes a dream machine? Like I said, again, from Foxy Guitars, single one piece, very exotic woods, koa, mahogany, limba, paduk. Same thing for necks. Tom Anderson's would shape the necks. Wood finish was always nitro on all of them. And the pickups, F500 for the single coil, Super Rock for the humbuckers. And then 83 with the new administration, new pickups happen, especially on this. So here's a few more examples. I strongly invite you to visit Foxy Guitars to check it out in detail. You can see an example of the logo being inked. And when I'll show pictures of this one, you'll understand the difference between the ink logo and the burn logo. Got a few catalogs, parts that you could order from him, and so on. So his site is really about Schecter. I'm more about Steinbergers from my previous videos I've done. But this site, he's the Schecter guy. He's the guy I would ask about stuff like that all the time. Now, type Schecter 1981, just like my red one I showed, you'll get that. 83. Now, this is a custom shop, CS. I didn't even know they had a CS. I knew they had A serial numbers. So if I go to this is an 82, right? Now if I go to 82, I'll get a, can I see it? That looks to me like an S. So mine was S80, so this is an S83. So it's still technically a true dream machine, but it's just before they sell over. If I look at this one, I don't think we can see the serial number on this. Let's see. No, so I don't know. So this could be a part. So not made by Schecter, probably assembled by someone who had a bunch of Schecter parts at home. Again, I'm saying that I'm not 100% sure, but when you don't find a serial number in the plate, it's very likely that this is what happened. All right, this one doesn't have serial number. If it's an 81 and if it's a true 81, it should have an S, no serial number. Right, no info. So when you get the A, this is the under Texas administration. Under Texas. I'm not referring to the state of Texas. I'm referring to when they moved Schecter from California to Texas. But they didn't move in 83. It took a while. So let me show you. So this is an A serial number, A7287. So that's pretty late. And you can see from the design, the bridge, the pick guard, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11-hole pick guard as opposed to an 8-hole. So you see all these differences. This is an A serial number. And the Koa, this thing here, is an A serial number as well. So let's get to the pictures of the Koa. Koa Dream Machine. So this is what makes me say that this is a dream machine, although it was made in 83. Yeah. So here's the picture. This is it, outside. Now on the stamp, so it says Schecter, probably guitar research. So it's partly stamped, and it looks more consistent than if it was just burnt in. Now, I'm not sure if they burnt it, if they stamped it with ink. I'm not completely sure. It's three-dimensional, so it's not just ink and wood grain. So I'm not completely sure. It's called the transition era, just like Gibson had a transition era when they went to New Orleans. Gretsch had the transition era when they went to Baldwin, Fender with CBS. So These would be definitely Schecter Dream Machine parts that were assembled at Schecter in California, but it was under new management. So the serial numbers A, we had an A7000 on the later Schecters I showed you. This is an A1 close to 2000. So it's probably in the first year, 83, of new administration. So they had parts left over. So it's not inked. It's three-dimensional. I mean, if I try to zoom in a little bit, you can see it. So I'm assuming that they made a new stamp with Guitar Research, which didn't used to show that. And they burnt it with that new stamp. And it's documented that the machine would be untrustworthy. So it would fail from times to times. So I'm assuming they were just messing around with that. And then they gave up and they went with just the ink. So here we go again. All right, so this is it, the pocket. Now let me here we go. Those pickups are the Monster Tone pickups. They have the ceramic magnet at the bottom and a plate. So those are not, technically speaking, Dream Machine pickups. They are the next generation designed by Tom Anderson himself. And they are on an 8-hole pickguard, metal pickguard, which is Dream Machine status. Because Dream Machines had an 8-hole pickguard, and later on they went to 11-hole pickguards. So we've got vintage brass plate, vintage front plate, the back plate, the tremolo cover is also metal, 8-hole, partly stamped burnt in logo in the pockets. Newer pickups, they sound fabulous, but they're newer pickups. You don't have all the coil tap, coil split, phase in, phase out mini switches you would have on a Mark Knopfler era Schecter. So it is a killer guitar. Big block, one-piece body, exotic wood. The only thing I'm not sure about, I'm not sure if Schecter's ever had graphic saddles like that. It's probable, unlikely, but it's probable. I would have thought I would have seen chrome or brass saddles on it, but I mean, nothing's impossible. It's very possible that over the years this guitar's had an upgrade, but that's it. And the Schecter logo. Now, if I look at the Schecter logo on the headstock, that's the Schecter logo on Co-op. And if I go back to Birdie, to the Dream Machine, Birdie, was my Schecter logo on the headstock. Here we go. Sorry, failed. Let's do that again. All right. So it's more one tone. There's no outline on it like there was on the other one. And there's a brass nut, and this one's got a graphic nut, or not a brass nut, some kind of dark material. Anyway. So, is my Koa a dream machine? I will say it is. If I send pictures to Foxy Guitars and he looks at it, he would probably agree with me saying that it's all transitional parts, obviously assembled together by the guys at Schecter's in California before the move to Texas, because the script on the back plate, the way the serial number is engraved, it's the same style. There are minor differences. The biggest difference is the pickups, because now we've got the 500Ts that we see here, the Monster Tone, as opposed to 500Ts we should have on an 82. We do have an 8-hole pick guard, which should be 82. They all have that, even the later ones. So that's not a disqualifying or redeeming feature of a Dream Machine only. They all have it, right? Original tuners, those are original and they're tied to they're really good tuners. So I say very confidently that this is as much a Dream Machine as the red mahogany one that I sold to Germany. Because between this guitar and anything else you can find online about Schecters that I've shown here, there's nothing in common between this or this. Yeah, now I know it said Roman. I'm not a big fan either, but there's very little information about Schecters. So 7945. What was this one again? 7287. So look at the guitar here. Look at the guitar I have. And look at what a Dream Machine looks like. Let's go back to Roxy. It's not my guitar because it's got a mini toggle, so but it looks a lot like mine. And if I look at the guitar that he sold, available guitars, don't dream, they're not available anymore. They've sold, right? So these guitars, which were S serial numbers, so meaning true with original pickups, through to 76 to 82. So those were Dream Machine certified. So the only difference between this, I'm surprised I can see a picture of it, although it's sold. Right, so if I compare this on a side-by-side with my co-op, just this here. So let's go back. Okay, 21 fret. That's right, 22 fret, which happened upon 83 with new management. So that's another difference between the pre-83 and the 83 and post-83 guitar is 22 fret to 21 frets, plus the pickups. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 holes. Mini toggles, no mini toggles, but it's different pickups, so it's going to be different electronics to be expected. So that makes it at least an 83. And because of the parts and the style, it's not further than 83. It probably is an 83. Metal pick guard, exotic wood, dots. Again, dotless Dream Machines are ridiculously expensive. I know because I sold one. Right. So to me, this is almost as much a Dream Machine as this was. It's a 79 here. This is an 83 if I go by the pickup model. So hopefully this will enlighten you, inform you, shed some light onto you researching, enjoying, looking for a vintage Schecter guitars. Now this is a Stratocaster shape. They also made what they call the Pete Townsend model Telecaster shape guitars. I haven't had any of those. Look forward to it, but can't find them over here. I'm just happy I found two of those here in Canada, one in Montreal, the red one that I sold, and this one that I got from Vancouver. So there is a video already up of me playing this guitar on a clean channel through my Torpedo remote. So please go watch this video. Make yourself an idea of how it sounds, picture it, and then feel free to add any comments or any more information. I'm open to suggestions to where I can find some more information about these guitars. If I can find more samples of transitional Schecters, I'll be happy to. But as far as let's say, from all the researches I've done, all the information I've gathered, this is like a drip edge Fender Deluxe reverb. Drip edge Fender Deluxe is a black face with a grill front and a drip edge all over the grill. This to me is the same thing. It is a dream machine with a different set of pickups, one more fret, and possibly a different nut. So thanks again for listening and watching Musical Intelligence. See you on the next one.